Hello viewers, in this lesson we'll be analyzing the match between Kees and Borgman. We'll be reviewing tactics, errors and pitfalls to steer clear of, as well as exploring alternative moves in the match. Let's commence. Kees started by playing 33-29. This move aims to control the center and prepare for further development of the pieces. And then Borgman responded with 19-24. And this response aims to contest the central control established by the initial 33-29 move. It can lead to dynamic and tactical positions where both players need to be conscious about the emerging possibilities. And then Kees responded with 39-33. So this move supports the central piece on 29 and prepares to mobilize other pieces. It maintains the tension in the center and aims to strengthen the player's position. So by moving 39-33, the player is focusing on controlling key squares and ensuring that their pieces are well placed for future engagements. So Borgman played 14-19. He played 14-19, and this move aims to develop another piece and maintain central control. It also supports the piece on 24. It supports the piece on square 24 and prepares to challenge the player's position further. So by playing 14-19, this move focuses on bringing the pieces into more active play, which is crucial for maintaining a balanced and dynamic position. He played 14-19, and then Kees responded with 44-39. So this is a solid continuation that reinforces the player's central control and keeps their position flexible and safe. It coordinates well with other pieces and prepares for future strategic and tactical possibilities. So Borgman played 20-25, reducing his tempo. So this move reduces Borgman's tempo or Black's tempo. And then Kees responded with 50-44. He played 50-44 and then Borgman played 15-20. So removing the piece at the corner here to square 20. And then Kees played 32-28. Borgman played 10-15. 37-32 was played by Kees. So Kees is developing with the pieces in the single corner here, trying to bring this to the center of the board, which is very important. Borgman exchanged the piece at the center of the square 28 and moved to square 21, and then White continued to develop the piece at the single corner here, and then he played 41-37. Black responded with 21-26. Here Borgman has gained 2 tempos. He has developed further, gaining 2 tempos in the game. As Borgman played 21-26, Kees responded with 31-30. Now, with this move, Black needs to play 20-25, but decided not to move to square 25. So he wants to keep things very simple. He played 7-12, and Kees has removed the inactive piece at 35. So bringing this piece into play, Kees removed the piece at 35 to square 30, and then as Borgman played 7-12, Kees moved to square 25, and then he played 11-17. Kees responded with 34-29, taking square 29, the center square 29. With this play, the likelihood of a successful attack at a piece on square 24 after 20-24 will increase significantly if there's no piece at 35. So if there's no piece here, the attack on 24 will successfully increase. Borgman responded with 17-21, so he moved to square 21. And Kees played 39-34, and then Black exchanged pieces by playing 21-27. So removing this piece here, the piece at 18 weakens Black's center a bit. So removing this piece here weakens Black center a bit. So the game continues with Kees playing 37-32, and then Black responded with 1-7. Kees played 44-39. Black played 19-23, exchanging the piece at square 29. And then White continued developing his pieces by playing 46-41. 14-19 was answered by Borgman. Kees played 42-37. And then 10-14 was played by Borgman. 32-28 was played by Kees. He changed the piece at the center of the square, gaining back the center, 28. And then 7-12 was played by Borgman. White played 41-37. So 5-10 was answered by Borgman. White made a strong move by playing 38-32. He moved the piece at 38-32. This is a good move by Kees. And black played 13-18. White answered by playing 43-38. White takes center square 28 and builds a central pyramid. So he built this pyramid, which is a good formation to have at the center of the board. And now the difference in the rate of development goes to 4 for white. White is leading in development with a difference of rate of development of 4. White has built a very nice pyramid at the center, and this formation is usually good for controlling the center of the board. And then Borgman answered by playing 14-19. Kees played another strong move, 34-29. Now white has taken 2 center squares, 28-29. White has taken 2 central squares, 28 and then 29. But we see that this piece here at 29 can be removed by Borgman by playing 19-24 to remove the piece at 29, so that Borgman will now take control of square 29. But Kees can build a very strong formation to change Borgman from this square 24. So we'll see how that will happen. Then the game continues by Borgman by playing 19-24. So he removed the piece at square 29 and then taking control of square 24, which is very important here. But we'll see how Kees will build a very strong formation to remove black piece from square 24 or to change Borgman's piece from square 24. So Kees played 40-34. So he moved to square 34 and then Borgman played 9-13. This move was answered by Kees by playing 49-44. He is trying to maintain the piece at 45 and build the tail here and build this tail. So this 44 will move to square 40 to build this formation, and then we see what will happen next. 13-19 was played by Borgman, and then 36-31 was answered by Kees. Black played 8-13 and then white played 31-27. So now Kees has taken control of square 27 and then square 28, and 27 is a strategic square. So also is square 24. Black played 18-23, taking control of square 23. So black has also taken control of square 23 and 24. And then 24 here is also a strategic square. So as I said earlier, white needs to build a very strong formation to remove the piece at square 24, which is very important in this particular position. So he played 48-43. He moved to 43, square 43, and then Borgman played 10-14. He moved to square 14. Now white has to play 44-40 to have the formation now. Now we see white has this central pyramid with the tail supporting it. So he has this central pyramid with the tail supporting it. So this tail is able to remove the piece at square 24. So now Borgman played 4-9. Kees played 34-29. So he removed the piece at square 24, sending Borgman piece to the edge of the board, which is square 25. Another important move for white is to play 33-29. If white play 33-29, it will be punished by black by playing 16-21, followed by 6-11, and then white needs to take to square 18, and black will capture white pieces. So white needs to take his time. So refusing to play 33-29 is a tactical move to avoid being punished by a coup Philippi. So we call this coup Philippi. If white played 33-29, black will play 16-21, white will take and then it will follow by 6-11, and then he will take to square 18, and black will take to square 31. So we need to avoid that move. Instead, white should play 39-34. So 39-34 was played by white. And then black answered by playing 2-8, and Kees replied by playing 45-40. And then 19-24 was played by Borgman, and then Kees played 40-35. So 40-35 is a strong move. This move prepares the 34-29 move. If, let's say, immediately white plays 34-29, so this move would have been answered by black by playing 24-30, and white can attack the piece at 30 by playing 40-35, because 12-18 will be played followed by 17-22. So if, let's say, white play 34-29, black will move to square 30, and white can attack this piece, because if white played 40-35, black will play 12-18, and then white will take this piece. This will be followed by 17-22, and white will take, and then black will play 18-23, and white will lose the game. So here white needs to play 40-35 first, which is a strong move. Then black will answer by playing 13-18. So 13-18 was played by black, and now white can play 34-29. And black played 9-13. He played 9-13, and then the exchange was made, and the move continued. White played 28-23, removing the piece at the center and taking this strategy square 24. So white has taken two strategy squares, 24 and 27, and taking these two strategy square gives you an edge over the game. So now we see that white achieves his objective. He currently dominates square 24 and 27, and then his advantage in development is 5. So the difference in the rate of development now is 5 plus 5, which is good for white. And this is also good when you are attacking. If you are attacking and you have a lead in development, it is good. Then Borgman played 13-18. So 13-18 was answered by playing 38-33. And then Borgman played 17-22. And this move was answered by white by playing 37-31. So he played 37-31. Now the reason white played 37-31 is not to lose the piece on square 27. So you don't have to lose the piece on square 27. As you have a piece on square 24, we don't lose this piece here. So we want to maintain a piece here. That's why white moved to square 31 to keep the piece at square 27. Borgman responded by playing 8-13. So he moved to square 13, and then white played 43-38. 22-28 was answered by Borgman. So he played 22-28. White captured to square 22. He followed it up with 16-21. And then he took to square 36. We see that white has more space to play now. He is only 3 terms ahead, but the black piece at 36 is rated 7 terms. So when you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the tempo here for the piece at 36 is 7. And this piece is isolated from the rest of black pieces. White can easily control the center of the board and take advantage of this and win the game. So as black moved to square 36, white played 32-28, and then black answered with 12-18, and 35-30 was played by Kees. Borgman answered with 3-8, 30-25 was played by white, and then 8-12 was played by Borgman or black, and white played 24-20. White could also have tried 38-32. Black has to defend very precisely, so he played 24-20, and black played 6-11. The exchanges were made, and then 25-20 was played by Kees, and Borgman answered with 4-9. Now the 4-9 here is a weak move. So the strong move for black is to play 4-10. The best move is to play 4-10. We'll look at the 4-10 move. We are going to examine the 4-10 move because if 4-10 is played, the game will end in a draw. But the 4-9 he played caused him to lose the game. So if 4-10 is played, then the response for white will be 38-32. So he will move to 32 and black will play 1-7, and then this move will be followed by playing 32-27. Black will play 7-11. 27-21 will be played by white, and then 11-16 will be played by black. So here again there are two variations, and then we'll look at variation 1. White can decide to play 20-15 or 21-17. So if white played 20-15, let's see this variation where white played 20-15. So if 20-15 is played, and then black will capture to square 27, and then white will also capture to king at square 4. Black will play 36-41 and white will capture, and the game will end in a draw. So the game will end in a draw. If white plays 21-17, black will play 18-22. Black will play 18-22, and then white will move to square 23, and black needs to capture to square 11, and then white will move to square 19 by playing 23-19. Black needs to play 16-21, and again white played 20-14, and then black will have to play 10-15. White will move to square 9. Black will play 21-27. White will move to square 3, and black will play 27-34. White will move to square 26. So black will play 11-17, and then black will move to square 38. White will play 3-35. And then black will have to sacrifice a piece at square 15, and the game will end in a draw. So you see that this game should end in a draw, but as black played 4-9, he loses the game. So white played 38-33, and then he answered by playing 1-7, and then white played 33-29, and 7-11 is played by black, and then white moved to square 23, and then he moved to square 22. White continued to square 19, and then he played 22-27. White attacked the piece at square 9. He played 9-13. White moved to square 10. Black played 27-32, and then white attacked the piece at square 13. Black played 36-41. White captures the black pieces to square 6, and then as black moved to king at 6, white played 6-17, and as we have seen, black has 3 pieces with a king, and then white has 3 pieces with a king. Black has a piece with a king, and we see that black loses this game and Black resign the game, and Kees wins the game. Now I want to explain why the 4 move is very important. As you have a piece at square 18 controlling square 18, it is important that we also control square 10. We control square 10 because the piece at square 18 has these key squares, and then the piece at square 20 has these key squares. So it is important that the position should balance. As we have a piece at square 18 controlling these key squares, and then we have these key squares, we move to square 10 to control these 2 key squares over here, because this square here has been taken care of by the piece at square 18. We have 2 key squares here which we don't have control of, so it is good that we move to square 10 to have control of these 2 key squares. So that is why this move is very important at this particular moment. Because of the piece at square 18, we don't need to play 4-10. We need to move to square 10. That's the main reason why this move here is very important move, and it's a very good move and a strong move. All right, this brings us to the end of this analysis. In our next lesson, we'll take another one and we'll be analyzing some of the games, and so that we see how you can improve upon your games. Thank you. Keep watching my videos.